Hey YouTube, this is Prometheus, guys, giving you more than meta. So guys, I want to do something a little bit different for you. This is going to be showing you how I run the Vikings playbook. I know there's a lot of great offensive formations in the Vikings that are very meta, used by pros and stuff like that. But I went into the Vikings playbook a couple months ago, and I've been really working on off-meta stuff. So I'm trying to stay away from the common plays that most people use, and I built out a mega scheme out of this formation, which is the gun normal Y off, and I'll kind of explain the reason why I use this. But this is an ebook that I wrote. I've got a write-up. I've got some more video content I'm going to drop, but I've actually ran probably about over a dozen games running this offense, so you can see it firsthand on my Patreon account. If you want some more information, just stick around to the end as I break this down for you. So I'm going against an opponent that had really ice cold offense. Using the Green Bay Packers. This guy was very good on offense, already down 7-0. This is going to be strictly offensive, and the primary formation I'm coming out of is normal, and I always use an inside zone as my base play. And the reason I do this is because it makes it easier for me to read the coverages when I run into an opponent, because I use these blocking icons as a way to read the leverages of the defensive backs, and then I just read the front and see if I can run the ball or not. So inside zone is more just my base play, so I get a read for the coverage. Now, typically, what I like to do in first plays of the game, I like to do run games or whatever, and just see what my opponent is working with. He's got a 3 high shell. So he's running probably some kind of a cover 3 or man coverage or something like that. Most players nowadays play cover 3. So I jumped into basically, a cover 3 beater. Got the ball out. His defender, actually, the starting defender, reacted to that play really quick and got me into 2nd and 8. So right here, I think on the previous play, notice he was playing cover 3 match. And let's go ahead and see if I jump into my cover 3 match beater. So I do. I run into cover 3 match. And this particular play that I labbed out, basically with cover 3 match, this defender will match up with this defender, and this defender will match up with this defender, pulling this guy out of position. And because I've got this little wheel route, what I've seen in the labs, and this is something I've actually been labbing out hours and stuff like that, this route will get open against cover 3 match for a huge opportunity. So we're going to watch this play out. I didn't like the release with the middle guy, so I reset the audible, and then we're just going to go ahead and throw the ball right here. And you can see now I've got a fast wide receiver that gets open, but pretty much you can go with slower wide receivers, so still gets open. And for some particular reason, this particular route against cover 3 match just gets leverage, and I got myself a 1-play touchdown basically in the 2nd play. So because of me labbing and because of me showing this stuff to you guys in my ebook, I can actually go ahead and find these ways to break my opponent down. So here's another situation. Right here I'm seeing basically 4 high shells, guys slightly in the middle. So, I'm thinking this is probably some type of a cover 4 type of coverage, quarters, palms type situation. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into some type of a quarters type read. And this is where I'm hoping this guy's in palms. So I'm going to go ahead and motion my guys over. Put this guy in a corner. I'm going to streak uphill. Now, if it's palms coverage, this will open up for a 1-play touchdown, because what happens is that the bracket coverage comes over, and this guy actually he falls back into coverage, and for some reason this route by Hill gets wide open. So I'm watching for the defensive backs. He's actually manually taking that guy away, so he knows he's been beat. He's not out here because he doesn't know what he's doing on defense. He knows he's out here because he got beat. So it's the type of situation where I'm like, okay, I got to get away from all these checkdowns. This is all locked up. So I've got a deep in on the back side that's coming over. That's my next progression. But I think his pass rush gets to me. You can see I'm releasing the ball. I'm trying to go to this guy right here because he's got leverage. He's underneath. But I'm not able to get the ball off. As a result, it becomes a 2nd and 10. So right here, he's showing me a 2 high shell. I decide to go ahead and run this play. This play is basically a play that I like to use against blitzing. I just felt like it might be an all-out blitz. I've got a combination of a route that always gets open against 0, and that becomes a one-play touchdown. But I usually like to try to look at this route 2, 1, 2, and then 3 on the back side. What happens is that he's in a different alignment. He's actually got drop coverage, so I go to the outside, throw that ball, catch it, only pick up 4 yards. So it's a 3rd and 6 situation. Look in the box right now. I could probably run, but the problem with this Packers defense is that you've got 2-star players on the defensive line. This guy's going to blow up my tackle or my guard because I don't really have a very good guard over here. So I didn't really feel too confident with the run, and you'll see some run plays later on where it's like, okay, his run's not that great. So you jump into basically this tight end corner run. Now, I know a lot of people run this play. I like running it stock because this whip route on the backside just gets crazy open all the time, especially if someone's running a lot of zone coverage. And I just quick snap that puppy. I don't really spend too much time with it. Right here I go with another inside zone. Or actually, no, I go with this play, which essentially is going to be a smash concept. Yeah, it's a smash concept. So I've got a fade smash, and then I streak up this guy right here to stress the defender. And what I want to do is I want to put the safety in a bind. He's going to be like in conflict. He doesn't know who he's got to take somebody, and he's going to be in conflict. So this is a play called a shock H option that I put into my quick audibles so I can deliberately basically go ahead and capture this type of a thing. So let's just go ahead and run this. Watch what happens. He sees Hill out here. He actually dropped this guy up in coverage, so he actually was covering it. But he double teams Hill, and I'm watching Hill. He comes out there to double teams it, and I realize he doesn't cover his responsibility, which is right over the middle of the field, which is the tight end. I'm able to go ahead and drop it to my tight end and get into the end zone right there with another huge play touchdown. So making some pretty good reads until this series. So this is the third quarter where I make some bad plays, and sometimes what happens is when I'm in the lab and I'm running plays a little bit differently. Occasionally what happens is I'll actually be labbing a play and not make a good decision. So right here I snapped the ball, but actually hit the button incorrectly and threw the ball to the guy in the flat. So that was a wasted play. That's something you don't want to do against somebody that's got a fairly stout defense. And I'm looking at the defense right now. It really isn't good. This particular formational series was just off the rails for me. The clock is running down. I decided to go into that motion play, and I just realized, I'm like, oh god, I just have enough time for this play to go. So I have to take a timeout. You don't want to take a timeout early, especially in the second half. You're going to need those timeouts in case, depending on what your opponent's doing. So that was just bad clock management and me making slow decisions. So right here I go once again to the slants play, and I decided to switch things up, go with like a little inside zone, just to give him a different type of look, try to run the ball off to the right, and his guys just shoot the gap and just destroy that play. So the series is falling off the wheels here a little bit. 3rd and 12. I go ahead. I'm reading basically man blitz, so I'm going to go ahead and set up this man blitz beater. I'm going to have a drag underneath. And right here, I could have took this route right here. He's on the outside with his defensive end, but I think what I did is because this guy's going outside and the defender was crashing down, I tried to check it down a waddle and get myself a 4th and 4. So this is just a bad series for me. It ends up even worse, but I end up getting a 4th and 4. I jump into this quick snap play, and he's reading this correctly. He's on Gary. And what he does is he gets into the whip route. Now you take a look at the running back route. The running back route is pretty much open, even though defenders actually matching and coming down to it. That's the smart fast read, but it could have come up short. I go back to the whip. His defensive end gets out of position. I'm able to go and pick up first down. So I love those inside whip routes. They're very good. Right here, I go back to shock H option. He's got everybody pressed down. Look what he does here. He makes a really good adjustment. So I've got leverage with this guy, but he's got another guy that's falling back into the zone. He's got his single high safety falling back in the zone. So this play is pretty much locked up except for this route right here. And I try throwing the ball. I think he clicks on right here. This could have been picked off. So that could have got ugly really, really quick. So he's mixing things up on his defense where I'm not making good decisions. And that's fair. So I think this is the play that I actually make a mistake. No, I go into 0-1 trap. This play is really, really good against any kind of sets here, 0-1 traps, where it's a four-man front, basically kind of an even front type situation. But the most important thing is having the center unblocked. What happens is when he's unblocked, these guys get up to the next level. And if you get, as long as you don't have a star defender over here, a lot of times you're going to be able to pick up some easy yard run with an uncovered center with the 0-1 trap. Problem with going against the Packers is this dude right here, Kenny Clark, basically will always come off his block and blow things up. So you can see how Kenny Clark, even though he was like a second late, he was back there. He's manipulating what I wanted to do with the run. I didn't have really clean running lanes right there. I pick up 4 yards, but a lot of times when I do an 0-1 trap with an open set like that, I can pick up some major yards. So here's why I make a mistake. I recently just changed up how I run this play. Typically, how I run this play is I usually streak this guy up to clear out the zone, but I'm running the bench concept against cover 3 match, and I'm seeing that the matcher, the defensive backs have been actually coming up and matching against these guys, and basically allowing this quick out to get easy open play for like 5 or 6 yards. So I decided to run this thing stop. I also have kind of a levels concept that follows. So that if this route and this route is bottled up, I can come back to these guys as my secondary reads. Snap the ball, and I threw right to his flat defender. So he actually was running like a cloud flat because you could see how that guy actually just went out to the sideline as a star defender, and he basically does that. Now he's in a 4th and 5 situation with 21 seconds left in the third quarter, and he's down here where he can get points and go up by possession. This is just a boneheaded decision. What he does, he was a quick snapper that would throw the ball really quick, and he would just try to throw underneath my coverages. So I just started dropping everything back into coverage, and he actually threw right into my defenders, and I'm able to get a deflection. So right now I'm looking at the clock. It's 3 points for me to win the game. It's milk and cookies time right now. I'm going to go ahead and just try to milk this clock down as much as possible, get in the field goal range, and not give this guy any kind of time or opportunity to get back into the game. And my most recent loss was a similar situation. Basically, we traded scores. It was 42-42, and he got the fourth quarter and then milked the entire clock. I ended up getting the ball into the end zone. And after he was in, field goal range for like, a good minute, 2 minutes of the game, and basically milked the clock out. So I'm going to start using just different types of run plays against this guy, just try to keep him honest. Right here is one of my favorite plays. This is basically a tight set. It's just with a outside stretch play. What I like to do is I like to go ahead and take this guy, motion him, and then once he gets to the guard or the tackle, I'm going to basically snap the ball, because what he does is he still keeps going to the outside and provides another block. And these guys kind of hook block for me and allows my running back to basically get to the outside and run up the ball. So watch how this play works. I use this play all the time. The problem is that you can only show it to your opponent a couple times before they get smart and really start overcommitting to that sideline. But you can see, look at the blocking. The blocking is just phenomenal. I'm able to go ahead and pick up a good chunk of yards right there. Keep the ball moving. Goal right now is just to try to chew up the clock as much as possible. So inside zone, I try to motion this guy over to give myself an extra blocker. I'm trying to snap the ball right now. No one's snapping. The guy gets set, and then he snaps, and look what he does with Gary. Gary, he just woofs his dude. No block set at all because he's using Gary, and he actually comes down and actually goes in and basically tackles me for a 3-yard loss. So that would have been a huger play if he wasn't on the side, if he wasn't using his defensive lineman in that type of situation. So I don't know how good of a defensive player this guy is using linemen, but he does look. He drops back in coverage, so you know that he's mixing things up a little bit, looking for routes in that type of situation. So he decides to go into double A gap, and I'm just expecting this guy to just, use the typical double A gap man blitz, but he wasn't really doing that. I think I go back to bench. The reason I go back to bench is because if this defender would basically cover this out route, but he's a little bit out of position, and if it's this defender covering this out route, he's completely out of position. So it's about leverage more than anything else. I'm going to be looking at Smith. Smith does get covered by the top receiver. Really what the smart thing to do is to wait for this route over the top. But for me right now, my goal is to try to get this clock down to less than 30 seconds and get into field goal range. So I can check things down. Smarter play in that type of situation, not to get yourself in the fourth down, is to basically go for the higher route. But he also is using double A gap. So double A gap, you always have a threat of something coming off the edge. So here's a play that I like to use in the red zone. It is the gun tray open. This is a great play that I like to use down in the end zone. I think it's a 4th and 3 situation. And I think, let's see if I take a delay on Gay of this. So I'm switching things around, and I jumped into a run play, and then I go ahead and try to jump back into another pass play, and I take a penalty for guys moving, and as a result, this turns into a longer yard and distance. This 4th and 8th situation. I actually thought this was more like 4th and 6, but this is what's cool about this play. You got this whip route. You have this route right here that is unstoppable, and you just have a clear out route, and you have a dig on the backside. I'm really just looking to this combination right here. This is the combination that I'm looking to. This is my 1, and this is my 2, and I'm just clearing these guys out on the backside with that clear out route. Barrios will always get open. I think he just hit me up with a man blitz. See how these guys are pressed down? Even with a star defender, he can't get underneath this route and get into position to play it correctly because it's just such a weird route. I love using this down in the red zone. This is one of my favorite plays, and I needed to get a first down in this type of situation. So 4th and 8th with the game in a line, you can see how this wide receiver, which is not a star wide receiver, he's like a 74 overall against one of the best defensive backs in the game. He gets an easy release. I'm able to go pick up 10 yards. So that's a great play. It's one of the plays I've highlighted in my ebook that I've labbed and said, hey, this is a really good play to have in your scheme. So right now, 1minute and 27 seconds. He knows I'm just going ahead and run this play. I go ahead and jump into a trip set on the right side, use an inside zone, and get really good blocking to the outside. If I would have went a little bit further wider, I probably would have picked up some more yards. But you can see I get a first down, and actually, I think in that situation, he burned a timeout in that type of situation. So right here, I'm going to go back into, let's see, we got single back trips. I'm going to go into the stretch play. I'm going to try to run the ball off the opposite side. I just read this defender. If this defender sticks, I'm always running this way. If the defender rolls, I'll run the ball to the right and just hope I get some seal blocking with my tackle. The defender carries, so I'm just going to snap the ball off to the right. I get some seal blocking actually over pursues right there. I get the ball into field goal range. So once you get that ball inside of 30, it's in field goal range. And you can see I'm just chewing up the clock against this guy. So he doesn't take timeouts. So I guess he conceded the fact right here that I'm going to take a field goal against this guy, and he's not going to burn any kind of time at all. I go ahead and no huddle, do another inside zone. He blasts my guys in the backfield to go ahead and he takes a timeout. Now it's 10 seconds left. I got a shot into the end zone, and press coverage, you're really not going to do that great. So I do an inside whip with Barrios with the hope that this guy is pressed and matched. He's going to come down, and I'm going to look for this route on the corner route to go and hit the backside. Problem with this guy's defense and the way he's running his defense is that I didn't have a lot of clock to go ahead and use against him. You can see this is open. I've got leverage. If I pass lead this correctly, I'm good. But his defensive end comes down and plays me, and as a result, I'm not able to complete the ball into the end zone and get myself a touchdown. I iced kicker field goal, go up by 3 points against this guy, and basically get the ball into the end zone and win the game. So 17-14 against this guy. This guy actually had really good offense. His defense was good. He switched up his coverages. He made me guess. He disguised coverages. He switched stick down to the right guys and stuff like that. If you guys want to see how I run my offense, I wrote up a actual breakdown of how I read my offenses, what I'm looking at before I snap the ball to kind of give me a better understanding to do that, and then breakdowns of all my audibles, how I run my plays, my progressions. This is very extensive stuff that I've actually put into my ebook. From progressions, from like, you know, where I'm reading, the plays that I run. You can get this on my Patreon, just a full breakdown of basically all my plays, my videos, and stuff like that. So if you guys run Vikings, you're in a league, you want to add some more stuff to your offense. I spent a lot of time labbing this stuff. I'm always labbing stuff, trying to get stuff out there that is different, unique. So you guys can check that out. So once again, thanks for your support, guys. Until next time.